Hey everyone, it's TheAngryHoneyBadger, and it's time to take a look at another champion build video today. We're going to be playing as Galio in the middle lane. Really fun champion, actually, and he doesn't get played too often, at least currently he's not played very much, but he's a really good mid pick, especially if you're a little bit newer to mid in some aspects, because you kind of build him a little bit tankier because of his kit and just kind of how he works as a champion, and because of his awesome passive, which kind of makes him feel strong in mid lane. So we're going to go ahead and talk about his abilities first. And let's go over that. So first off, there is his passive, which is his runic skin. You receive 50% of your total magic resist turns into an additional amount of ability power. So if you have 50 magic resist, you get 25 AP. So you scale really well, and it kind of is a nice way, and it enforces you to build magic resist. And since most mid laners are magic damage and do AP, damage, building magic resist is going to not only help you deny them kills and help, you with resists, but then you also get bonus ability power out of the deal. So it's just a really, really kind of fun concept, and he's got a great passive, and because of that, it makes him a strong champion. So that is the first part of him. Then there is your Resolute Smite, which is your Q ability. You basically fire this little blast, it deals some damage, and then it will also slow their movement speed for the next 2.5 seconds. Just used it there on Ezreal, actually. So that's your Q. I typically will put 1 point into this at level 1 and max this out first. And then at level 2, I usually put a point into my Righteous Gust, and you release a Gust of Wind. If it hits the target, it will deal damage to them. And then it will also stay there for 5 seconds, increasing the movement speed of allies passing through it. So you can then also chase with it quite easily. So if you hit them with it and chase down it really fast, you catch up to them pretty quick. And that is your E ability. And that is what I usually will max out second because it's good damage. Then I usually put a point into my Bulwark, which is your W ability. And what happens is this: you can put a shield on friendly champion for 4 seconds, increasing their armor and magic resist by quite a bit. Each time the unit suffers damage, Galio is actually healed quite a bit. And that's kind of nice. You can also put this on yourself. So that is his W. It's a really good shield. Here we're going to get into a little bit of a fight. I'm tossing some stuff over at this Ezreal. He's actually baiting out a gank. I'm going to taunt him, though, with my ultimate, which we'll go over in a second. And I'm going to keep running away, but dealing damage to him. I also ignited him. So I was actually able to pick up the kill on him and retreat. So that was a pretty decent getaway engage where you can keep throwing your abilities down, because you might scare him off of you, or you'll pick up a kill like I did there and be able to get away safe. So it was nice to pick up that kill, and I'm building now. But we'll go ahead and we'll cover my last ability, which is your, as you saw, it was my ultimate. And what happens there is you channel it for 2 seconds, taunting nearby foes, and you reduce the incoming damage by 50%. So you do take damage to deal this, but after you channel it, you're going to deal quite a bit of damage to the enemies, and then an additional 5% of the damage for each attack suffered while you were channeling it, a maximum of 40% bonus damage. So if you taunt a whole team, and they're all obviously going to be attacking you because they're taunted, it's going to deal a lot of damage back to the whole team as well. One thing I will say you have to be careful of is now the build that you do will need to reflect your ability to use your ult to its potential. So we're going to talk about that with the items. Here I'm going after Ezreal just a little bit. Luckily, Udyr comes in from the side and he scoops up the kill, and I will pick up the assist. So it was a good job that the jungler was paying attention. He wanted to come gank from behind anyways because I've been pushing fairly well, but that's just something that he was going to do there, and that was a good way for me to pick up an assist. But now as for the build going on, early on, if you saw what I took some Fairy Charms, I think, and some wards, some pots, some stuff like that. So you can do that because the first item I built was a Chalice of Harmony, which is going to be great for poking, obviously, so you have more mana, and you get some magic resist out of it, so you'll get some AP because of that passive. And then I also did build Merc Treads early because, once again, penetration boots are great, but you have to build Galio with just, I think, a little bit of tankiness to him, so you can survive your ultimate and get up close to them and deal that damage. Plus, building these items with that magic resist is really going to benefit the passive. So it's a really great way to get tons of AP. Like right now I have 100 and I don't know what that says, 182 AP. I don't really have any hardcore AP items. I just have my runes and masteries, and then the AP I'm getting from magic resist right now, and I have an amplifying tome. So just a little bit of something to pay attention to. You could almost recommend almost any item in this game with magic resist in it to put on Galio, just because it works in some aspect. Obviously, you probably don't need the ones with attack damage, but any of the just defensive items or ability power related items that give you magic resist are going to be great pickups for Galio, and we're going to get a few of those later on in the game. You don't have to build it all at first. You don't need to stack up on one side, Obviously, you want to address getting some armor too, so we're going to go over 2 items that you could do for that as well. So we'll get to that in a minute. But other than that, in mid lane, just been trying to poke him with my Q ability. It works really well for that. So does that E ability. It's good at scaring him away. You can see the damage I do to Ezreal every time that happens. I also am avoiding some of his damage because this is an AP Ezreal. So whenever he is hitting me with either his W or his E or his ultimate, I am resisting some damage. So that is one nice thing I will say about being Galio against this Ezreal. So that passive really, it just really helps promote you be stronger in mid lane. Now, if you do go up against a champion in mid lane who happens to be a Zed or maybe a Talon or a Kha'Zix, and they're doing that physical damage, you're probably going to want to make sure you pick up some armor early, but I'll recommend those items in just a bit. Here comes Jarvan again for a gank. I'm going to actually poke at him because it's just him right here now. They're both showing up. I'm going to actually come back in here, taunt them both because I think I can kill this Ezreal, and I am able to. Now I'm going to go ahead and fight this J4 just a little bit. I did put that shield on me, which is protecting me quite a bit, and I'm going to keep throwing attacks back at him, and I think I actually can win this engagement now. So I'm going to keep chasing after him. He is going to get away just barely. I don't want to tower dive this, but you can do a lot more damage than you think you can because you build just a little bit of off tank, but it still scales really well. So that's the big thing about Galio. He scales really well even if you build him a little bit beefy. Goes a really long way. I've seen full all-out Galios that are full AP with little to no resists. It does a lot of damage, but you do not live long enough. You usually do your ult and then you're dead. So it's nice to be around after your ult has also been used, and so you can deal more damage to the team just additionally on top of that. So we're back at base now. Time to pick up a little bit of health. There's 2 different health items that you probably could do. Rod of Ages is pretty standard if you wanted to do that. I actually like to do Rylai's Crystal Scepter because it's just even more amazing to me, in my opinion, with him. I think I like it because of the because of that gust is really nice. You hit them with it, and then you chase down it quicker, and they're slowed, so that's really nice. And then it stacks, too, on top of that Q ability. So that's one thing I'm going to do to get some health in this game is I'm going to build that. I also did start to get part of another item. I did start building towards my Zhonya's hourglass as well. It's a good way to pick up some armor since, you don't only want to stack one type of resist when the team has both types of damage. You do need to pick up some armor as well, apart from just that magic damage, so you can deal, so you can live longer, and it's just going to make way more sense in the long run. So we have the first half of that. Now, if you didn't want to go with that hourglass, and you wanted to go with a different item that's going to make you a little bit more tankier and benefit you in other ways, you could actually do the Sunfire Cape, because that will give you armor, it will give you health, and it's going to give you that that passive on it as well to deal some damage, so when you are taunting them with your ultimate, they'll be taking damage from that as well. So that's another item I would recommend if you're looking for some more health. That's a really good one. Obviously, the stasis is really good, just out of Zhonya's hourglass, because maybe after you pop up, after you're done using your ultimate, you might be low, and they might try to focus you real quick because you just ulted them. You might be able to use your stasis from that hourglass, and as your team continues the engagement, and then you can maybe live through it. So that's a good way to probably help yourself through there. There I actually taunted her, but she did the knock back right when I went for the taunt, so it actually knocked me out of my ultimate, unfortunately. So we're actually going to keep chasing her, though. We have GP chasing. She is ignited. He's not going to dive. Udyr is going to dive now. I will pick up the kill. J4 is going to ult us now, but we're going to work on him because we're doing plenty of damage at this point. And an assist on him will happen, and Ezreal, not too much he can really do. I will, do what I can at him to get him to stay away from my 2 lower teammates at this moment. So he can do a lot of damage, although he did kill GP there because GP overcommitted. But that this is, the build really has some flexibility to it, and I guess I will kill him there as well. But the build has flexibility to it because you can go with a little bit more AP if you wanted to, but you can also build the tankier side of it, and it works really, really well. We are almost done with that Crystal Scepter. We're getting closer to it. We will get away, actually, running down that gust. That's a good way to get away as well if you're running away from the team. You can always do that to help your allies get away from the fights. So don't forget to do that with your gust. But we're back at base now. We're going to finish off that Rylai's Crystal Scepter. It's going to give us that more AP. It's going to give us that health and then that slow when we do cast our abilities and we hit the enemies. So they will be slowed. Next item I am getting is, I think, that Tome, which is going to team up with that Chalice of Harmony. Chalice of Harmony, and that is going to go into the Athenes Unholy Grail. That way we'll get some AP from that cooldown reduction, which is always a good thing. Never underestimate that. And then you're going to get that 40 magic resist, and that will scale, obviously, so we're going to actually get an additional 20 AP out of that deal. So it's just a really good item, and we'll get all the passives with all the mana regeneration, so we won't really have to worry about mana at all. Although Galio does like to use a handful of it early, but like I said, get that Chalice and you're going to be good to go, and you won't have any problems as the game continues on. So once you get that Athenes, you're good to go when it comes to mana, and you can continue to push with your team and fight it out and win the game. Gonna get into a little bit of an engagement here. We're all pretty much over here for the most part. Zach got knocked into his passive. We are getting to a little bit of a fight, and you know, cleaning it up and taking damage, but you know, just a little shuffle there for the most part. As for the runes and masteries, the rune page can differ a little bit. It just kind of depends on what runes you have or what runes you want to run. If you have magic penetration marks, those are good. You can do mana regen seals or armor seals, kind of comes down to how you're building him in the long run. Also then, for your glyphs, you can either do AP per level scaling glyphs, or another good one is the magic resist per level one, so you'll also be getting ability power while those are scaling throughout the game. So you can do those make a lot of sense, especially if you're taking him mid lane and you're playing him as a caster. And then as for your quintessences, you can just do flat AP or movement speed, kind of comes down to personal preference once again, but those are the runes I would definitely recommend to try out on Galio. Then as for your, your masteries, there's a few different ways you can do this as well. Now, masteries really come down to a personal preference, but if you want to do the 2190 or the 2109, you can do that. Make sure you pick up all the damage in that offensive tree. You can also go with a more tanky page if you really want to. It works really well because the way he scales, and you know, you have to build with a little bit of survivability, and that's going to work. As for the build right now, since the game actually, we're getting in their base and it's, you know, winding down just a little bit. At this point, you can see I've picked up a little bit more magic resist, and I'm actually going to build that towards the Abyssal Sceptre. It's a great item on him. You're going to get more AP, magic resist, and that you're going to get a little bit of their magic resist to be decreased when you are around enemy champions by 20. So that's going to help you out dealing more damage, but it's going to help you stay a little bit tankier as well, while scaling even more ability power. So that is what I would recommend next, and then you could finish out that hourglass, and then you'll be pretty set there. And then you could actually pick up a Deathcap as one of your final items if you wanted to do that. Definitely a solid item to pick up. That's just going to increase everything on you, so that's just going to be a great way to get tons of AP. You'll have plenty of magic resist, you'll have that armor and that stasis, so that's how I would typically be rounding out the build. There's a couple side items, like I said, you could totally do. If you want to do a bulwark, because that gives you a handful of magic resist, helps the team out as well. You could totally do a bulwark if you really wanted to get one. There's a few. You could really do a Twin Shadows if you needed more initiation from your team. Guardian Angel, you come back to life, it'll have some magic resist in it, so you'll get a little bit more AP from that because of that passive. There's really a few items you could really consider with him, so just remember you could do that. And because we have all of our slows with that Rylai's and just your natural abilities, you could always pick up a Liandry's Torment. So there's quite a bit of items you could end the game with. I do, though, like I said, if you wanted to go ahead and pick up that Deathcap, you'll just be dealing tons of damage. But nonetheless, that's pretty much going to be a build video for Galio. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put any of those down in the comments below. As for everything we just talked about in this build, it's all listed in the description, so you can resort to what you need to see there. But other than that, I guess I'll just see all of you guys in the next build video. Here's another thing you can do with Lee Sin. If you see a champion out like that, where that Lysindra is, and she's getting low, what you can do is you can just throw your Q through a wall, then jump to her, move in, and just kick her in the face, and then kill her that way. So you can move in on champions fairly easily, and it's kind of fun to do it that way.